Code question 242, a valid anagram. The question states that two strings are given. We have to check whether the two strings are anagram or not. If it is an anagram, we have to return true or else false. Before solving the question, what is an anagram? Two strings are called anagram if both contain same letters with same frequency, just arranged in a different order, is known as anagram. For example, let us take an example of eat and tea. Both the strings contain the same letters but arranged in a different order. See, E, E, T, T, A, A. So this is an anagram. Approach. First we'll check the length of both the string. If lengths are different, we can directly return false. If lengths are same, then we'll create an array of size 26. Since 26 alphabets are there, then we will iterate every character of a string 1 and add 1 in an array. Similarly, we will iterate every character of string 2 and this time we will subtract -1 in an array. Then we will iterate an array. Here this time in an array, if an element has more than 0, then we'll return false, else we'll return true. String 1 has it, string 2 has t. First we'll check the length, both the lengths are same. Then we'll initialize an array from 0 to 25. Then we'll iterate the string 1 eat. First we should know the index value of e. To find the index value of e, we use this formula s dot caret of e minus character of a. We'll get the index value. Then we'll iterate. The index value of e is 4, so we'll mark it as 1. Then the index value of e is 0, we'll mark it as 1. Then index value of t is 19, we'll mark it as 1. Then we'll iterate the string t, tea. Then this time we'll subtract -1. The index value of t is 19, so it is 0 again. Then index value of e is 0. Then index value of e is 1 minus 1 is 0. We'll iterate through an array count. If all the elements of an array are 0, then we'll return true. And if any element is more than 0, then we'll return false. In this case, all the elements are 0, therefore we'll return true. Therefore, it is an anagram.